more about it. I'd also like to ask Geshe La. Would you, Geshe La, please give a little bit of an explanation of where you were in Indiana this past couple of weeks? What was the organization that you were part of? What was the purpose of your going to Indiana? Could you speak a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, thank you. Uh, uh, we went to Indiana, our group, Gelupa Melam prayer group. We have Geshe Lama, Reincarnation Lama, about 50 monks. We pray this summer prayer in India at Indiana, and Ajar Rinpoche came together.
Organized it.
Yeah, organize it. Ajar Rinpoche is Kharse Vrata. Pension Rinpoche, Yansi Munzi Chengede.
The one who recognized uh, the Dalai Lama as the Panchen Lama, the Dalai Lama, Ajahn Rinpoche was Panchen Rinpoche Ngunzi Chini the Marwa.
Re.
Moma Panchen Rinpoche.
Oh yeah, Marta pension country chuchi ba jorwa, pension country chuchi ba de jarum boche ke senda nane kanda phane pel chung winzi chinge de ta zo ajarum boche.
So yes, this Ajahn Rinpoche, the one who organized this summer prayers in India, was the chief Lama who helped in recognizing the 11th Panchen Lama with the endorsement of His Holiness the Dalai Lama.
Ajarum boche ke tanda dij yorwa inji tola tem mongbo ye hindu. Temni songse ji hindu chenamba dona chung ye na zo ji khoro ke na Bernang ke Mina Sea of Trinity Chene, Jamik Korile, Pejo Kandis Tando Che Yume, and Tenene Jamik Jamik Kala Nyamba in a Koreliachi Kosanda Tech in the Pejo Tando Chea, that Trinity on the Anakorik Jamik Kala Mania Bache. And a Jarumboche, Jarumboche, Kate Malawachin, Jarumboche, and a Tuschene, Chando Sarsana, and a Jauchol Payone. Pension Rinpoche ke karase korata phegi yansi ngwenzi tan dev ke jami pecha tangro chidi ena kore tenene peonjo tende chi ta chadi gore.
So Ajahn Rinpoche, who is currently lives he has a center there in India, Indiana. And so because of Ajahn Rinpoche's involvement in the recognition of the 11th Panchen Lama, he was under tremendous pressure from the Chinese government. When Ajahn Rinpoche realized that if he in China, where he was initially based in China, in Tibet, so therefore, if he remains there, he will have to go contribute against the Dalai Lama in terms of the 11th Panchen Lama selection, as well as in terms of making the Chinese recognize Panchen Lama legitimate and so on. So the Chinese are going to use him in giving lending some legitimacy to the Chinese recognized Panchen Lama. So he's under so much pressure, and therefore he ended up in United States. Before his escape, the Ajahn Rinpoche was in position of authorities under the Chinese government.
Tere dikha ta kanda nge ke tona chuya la Ajar Rinpoche ke Deb Kaki Jindu, that Tetanolo, Inji Tono Chasonji Yedihindu, Neti Jell Ajarambochi, Ye Kutsab Zonda, Tanda Chusona, Uding, Rambochi, Yore, Tele, Inji Tepte, so Min Chasan Rawat in the Chonzo Chico Ghost, Tenanola, Pertan, Lama Yamsing Winzi, Ajarambochi, Janala Gubic, Bernala Gubic, so Kangeta. Ana tene ke zogung chene chik dukale tap chen thwa ta na ajarum bo che ke lop to ta ana chi ndwal chöso kha chu chene yang chi khori ke yemden che ya dan ro le phen to che ya de so kor de ta chi chasang jin du se ana chösho dan rewa yen jo chi yes sir yes
Ajahn Rinpoche has written several books, including Dragon something. So it's also related with the recognition of Panchalama and how he has to go through so much pressures from the Chinese governments and so on. So I will be able to share those titles of the books that several books he wrote, even one including reincarnate system of reincarnations. Reincarnation system. He also wrote on one of that, and so those books are well known, and are very, very insightful. And I will be able to share those titles with you for your interest and reading later on.
yeah and I want to share with you daily routine of our summer prayer. Morning 7 a.m. We discuss meditation, and we do the meditation half an hour, 30 minutes, sorry, 30 minutes. And then we practice yoga with our yoga teacher. He is monk. He can play yoga very well. His body and mind all very perfect. Then we get 8 o'clock, we breakfast, and then what's it? We attend the morning prayer after breakfast. In afternoon, we go the hiking, and sometimes trip around the water. Sometimes we play, all monks play basketball. Sometimes the Tibetan people and Mongolia people, American people, they dance Tibetan dance,
The circle dance.
Tibetan circle dance, and they enjoy the environment, and sometimes they play a game. Yeah, that's everything.
So
So
the daily.
it's a festive time.
Yeah. Also, many Tibetan children gather at there, came from Chicago, Ohio, Minnesota, many different states.
Well, very good. Thank you.
Uh,
Georgie, did you want to comment on that?
Yeah, no, I think everything he said is very clear. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was good to hear your English again. So
Yeah, he needs to do that. He's good, that's why how he's improving.
yes.
Very good. Yeah, that's good.
On the schedule you just described, what time do you wake up in the morning? Like at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m.?
We all wake up before the 6:30, but different. Some monks wake up early, 5 o'clock. Some monks 5:30. Yeah, little bit different. Yeah, we all sleep one hall, big hall.
Like a dormitory,
Yeah,
dormitory, like a dormitory style hall.
yeah. What say? We have a little bit jock in the middle night when we sleep. All monks snoring. This snoring.
Snoring,
Yeah,
snoring, huh?
yeah, snoring, and what say our chant master. Onse chemolal chant master semari.
Yes.
Yeah, our chant master, big snoring, and we all follow him, but little bit, little bit.
It must sound like a chant, like the bees buzzing around a beehive.
Yeah, sure. But we can sleep very well.
Very good.
Yeah.
Are these many monks that you knew back in India, back at Saranjay, and from the different monasteries there?
Yeah, yes. From Drikung, Gandhi, Sera, yeah, big monastery from the different.
So those are the three major monasteries that are in India of the Galupa tradition.
Yes. Also, we call what Tantri, Jute and Jume, Trashulhumbo. Yeah, many. What say?
Geshe Lama from all monasteries. So for many types of from various monasteries across India, looks like.
Yeah, sure.
Mhm.
Well, very good. Well, thank you for sharing that with us, and it's wonderful that you got to do that and have that togetherness. That's great. Is that an annual thing? Is that something that happens every year, or was there a special reason for everybody coming together?
Sorry.
Is it something that happened? You want to explain it, Dorji?
Yeah, the annual rebase, lot about his rebate, that it zoya mise and juris.
Tuche. This is this year is first, but Ajar Rinpoche hope next year again.
I see.
Yeah, this year's is very perfect and very useful.
Yeah. Ajahn Rinpoche has been to Dharma Surya Center in Fairfax, Virginia, several times.
Sure.
So he comes with several other monks, and they give teachings and practice and so on. He's very, very special.
Yeah. Tira chuchu Jaramboche ki tandandi India na chunso de Ajaramboche lu tsi nangjo redwa ngema ta boche ki imba che ane tene ni tisi nzinjong de tata re mare kangen theon de Ajaramboche lu tsi te che ne ta tanda Ajaramboche goti ne yene chale nangye so pangrin che ne ta tanda ha leba phison so po hyoji re de hyas.
Yeah. So this centers in India now was very well known and a big center. Initially, it has been running by His Holiness the Dalai Lama's late brother Tatsi Rinpoche. So when Tatsi Rinpoche passed away, there was a little problems with the management and the continuity of this. However, after that, Rinpoche over, he made everything very efficient. And now the center is running in full swing, and everything is back to normal and very well organized, very helpful. So that's how it has become, thanks to his leadership, thanks to his being at the helm of the leadership or the directors.
Ana tere yapage sane de garandu sena sane kusimbo che sacha pa solo che ana ji chachen zombo che ana sacha khoya simbo che pyusung sobona che ana chusho ge shawa dusa de gargona ya ji tunje samang zom denge da che o gegen to so yapo hwe denge che ana ji tabalama so samale peung sama ji lhone ji chenbo tensang ya da da re de hyas.
So it's a very a nice, quiet place and perfect place for contemplation, for meditations, all of that. And the center is also very resourceful. And besides, many Tibetan scholars all over come there. And now, today, it serves as a perfect place for worships and for meditations, for studies as well.
Ngar chona la yoga de chachen ji tse yon yapur sar samsa tension se ina tang an junta chi nima chos chi le tndi chi tse bare se tege shatan yapur rasu te ina ya tando dawa chi si yana samsa da tndi chona chonsons.
So I felt doing yoga is really helpful, and we did it like for 10 days. So what I come out is like if someone who can continue this yoga practice in the future for a longer time, there's no doubt how much benefits it brings to your own health.
O tndi re kya ane ngancho ki te pegele gom ge kolo dwelling che de tsamale shije ge mi mangbo yo de tsamane ngancho geshe mang che wa ge inji yapu tak tungi chanja re de kyas.
Drilling lana the tacit bit as a discussion. Tacit
Ase mare dwelling ya tiwa ti ma song je na.
Yes. So we also have a very lively discussions with the other scholars, Buddhist scholar, and thankfully for most of our Geshe Lamas who were uh, in- and
Guruji,
very
you're breaking up pretty bad now. Perhaps it would be a good idea if you were to disconnect and reconnect with yourself so that you're not breaking up as bad as you are.
okay. How is it now? Yeah.
It's sporadic, very, very sporadic. It's hard. Your picture freezes up and your audio, we can't hear you.
Uh,
So maybe while driving.
What he said is like, you want me to disconnect?
I think maybe if you can, if it's convenient to disconnect and reconnect, and you get maybe a better cell because you're traveling and very quickly and changing cell towers, and sometimes the connection
Disconnect.
gets interrupted.
Brother Lance, do you mean to leave, exit, and then come back, or?
Yes,
Oh, okay, sure, I will do that, and then.
please. In the meantime, thank you very much, Geshe, for giving this explanation, and we wanted everybody to share with this and understand some of the tradition and culture, not just for the monastics, but also as in Dorji's case, Brother Dorji's case, that he's being awarded, a notice for his work and so on as a layperson and being active in for the Tibetan people and so on. So we help in many different ways, and to be able to for us as Westerners to appreciate, all those connection points that the Tibetans go through to keep their culture alive and so on. So, if you don't mind, is it okay if we start and do a short opening prayer? Geshe La?
Samje Choedup Choje Chonam La Janchu Pado Dane Japso Dagi Jinso Chonam Rola Penser Samje Drupa.
In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent. I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. Thank you very much, Geshe La. So now, Dorje, you're back with us?
Yeah.
Let's see if that improves. So can we resume our conversation with the 37 practices now? Geshe, is that okay? Okay, so what I would like to do is ask Zara. Zara, do you have your copy of the 37 practices? Very good. Would you read the homage? Would you begin on the first page and continue through to verse number 15? Because that's where we left off last time, was at the end of verse 15. So if you'll refresh us by reciting that, would be very good. So can you do that now, please? And remember to please be slow and deliberate so that everybody can understand.
The 37 Bodhisattva practices, homage to Lokeshvara. At all times, I prostrate with respectful three doors of body, speech, and mind to the Supreme Guru and the Protector, Shinrezig, who, though realizing that all phenomenon neither come nor go, makes single-minded effort for the sake of all sentient beings. The perfect Buddha's source of benefit and happiness arise from accomplishing the sublime Dharma. As that accomplishment depends on knowing the Dharma practices, I will explain the Bodhisattva's practices. At this time, when the difficult-to-gain ship of leisure and fortune has been obtained, ceaselessly hearing, pondering, and meditating day and night in order to liberate oneself and others from the ocean of cyclic existence is the Bodhisattva practice. The mind of attachment to loved ones wavers like water. The mind of hatred of enemies burns like fire. The mind of ignorance which forgets what to adopt and what to discard is greatly obscured. Abandoning one's homeland is the Bodhisattva's practice. When harmful places are abandoned, disturbing emotions gradually diminish. Without distraction, virtuous endeavors naturally increase. Being clear-minded, definite understanding of the Dharma arises. Resorting to secluded places is the Bodhisattva's practice. Long associated companions will part from each other. Wealth and possessions obtained with effort will be left behind. Consciousness, the guest house, will cast aside the guest house of the body. Letting go of this life is the Bodhisattva's practice. When evil companions are associated with, the three poisons increase. The activities of listening, pondering, and meditation decline, and love and compassion are extinguished. Abandoning evil companions is the Bodhisattva's practice. When sublime spiritual friends are relied upon, one's faults are exhausted and one's qualities increase like the waxing moon. Holding sublime spiritual friends even more dear than one's own body is the Bodhisattva's practice. What worldly gods themselves, also bound in the prison of cyclic existence, are able to protect others. Therefore, when refuge is sought, taking refuge in the undeceiving triple gem is the Bodhisattva's practice. The subduer said that all the unbearable suffering of the three lower realms is the fruition of wrongdoing. Therefore, never committing negative deeds, even at the peril to one's life, is the Bodhisattva's practice. The pleasure of the three realms is as fleeting as a dewdrop on the tip of a blade of grass, vanishing in a single moment. Striving for the supreme state of never-changing liberation is the Bodhisattva's practice. When mothers who have been kind to one since beginningless time are suffering, what's the use of one's own happiness? Therefore, generating the mind of enlightenment in order to liberate limitless sentient beings is the Bodhisattva's practice. All suffering without exception comes from wishing for one's own happiness. The perfect Buddhas arise from the altruistic mind. Therefore, completely exchanging one's own happiness for the suffering of others is the Bodhisattva's practice. Even if others influenced by great desire steal all one's wealth or have it stolen, dedicating to them one's body's possessions and virtues accumulated in the three times is the Bodhisattva's practice. Even if others try to cut off one's head when one is utterly blameless, taking upon oneself all their negative deeds by the power of compassion, as the Bodhisattva's practice. Even if someone broadcasts throughout the billions of worlds all sorts of offensive remarks about one, speaking in turn of that person's qualities with a loving mind is the Bodhisattva's practice. Even in the midst of a public gathering, someone exposes faults and speaks ill of one, humbly paying homage to and perceiving that person as a spiritual friend is the Bodhisattva's practice. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So from 12 onward, we're talking about transforming trouble, different troubles that we have. So you can look at these verses and make your own groupings and think about what is common about each of these verses with the other verses and so on. So between 12 through 21, for me, was transforming trouble. So I'm going to recite now 16, the remaining group here, 16 through 21. So even if someone for whom one has cared as lovingly as his own child regards one as an enemy, to cherish that person as dearly as a mother does an ailing child is the Bodhisattva's practice. 17. Even if influenced by pride, an equal or inferior person treats one with contempt, respectfully placing him like a guru on the crown of one's head is the Bodhisattva's practice. Though one may have impoverished life, always be disparaged by others, afflicted by dangerous illness and evil spirits, to be without discouragement, and to take upon oneself all the misdeeds and suffering of beings is the Bodhisattva's practice. 19. Though one may be famous and revered by many people, or gain wealth like that of Visvarana, having realized that worldly fortune is without essence, to be unconceited is the Bodhisattva's practice. 20. If outer foes are destroyed while not subduing the enemy of one's own hatred, enemies will only increase. Therefore, subduing one's own mind with the army of love and compassion is the Bodhisattva's practice. Number 21. Indulging sense pleasures is like drinking salt water. However much one indulges, thirst and craving only increase. Immediately abandoning whatever things give rise to clinging and attachment is the Bodhisattva's practice. So now, Geshe La, if you would please comment, would be wonderful. Starting with number 16.
Okay. Is there Brother Doje?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Lasso. Tanda diji khya yin chocho, tanda karase, ta nganzo ngoni tanda zara gichi cho nang songa, cho nga padu cho pare, ta brother lens ke chutu ne chene ne hitsachi padu cho parwa tenzu nganzo tsije. Di che namba choki te tanda chen de gore yamse cho de te nganzo ngone chane komri the ya ta, yang chenso yang jo the ya ta. Yang mahi pa yang jo hin we ya ta, hin jo de ser ro ya te cheba yo sare. Tende indu yamne yang de cho de ya te pe misi gense chenpo jire kya se te hua in Istanbul.
First, I would like to say the Bodhisattva way of practice is that you, Zara, initially read, as well as you will have read from 60 to 21. Such a frequent read of this practices is a very good way to remind us, as well as to acquaint us with those practices. So I would like to appreciate these practices as very helpful and meaningful to me.
That then I think Manzo pyoge tsi nanglo ma dusi tawande tsi kuro katu suso ngodong kowa lenya la ta tanda ha koya la kapurang yo ma res. Tena yige inji nanglo la takarang insara samsara chi yungu doos dos. Ha
So,
te chesho de ngarang so kale kasho de che matu ya de laling ke ya de la ane nga de go res. Ma to xie ya tang mi jinda gu tsu xie yunde o ti tende rekha samsa ji nganzo ha koya de 대장 깔레 카보 멤버체 띠인데 다 라네 깨야 돼 깔레 띠스 카와 인데 만수 딜라 곰리 제고야 돼 개청보를 해서네 대 휴인스
so the most important thing is like when you read this Bodhisattva practices, uh, in terms of understanding, it might not be that of difficult issues. It has its own literary meaning and so on. However, once you understand it, but then when it comes to practice, that's where the hard part is. So therefore, we will make an effort on uh, how practicing can become a daily routine.
뭐야 베나 가르세나 단단가랑서 쭈뚜 때나로라 로만 뒤비 우승 가시기 삼니 뒤히 칭에 하나양 벨라 게위해진 도해지 연대 줘봐 자세 라린 인세고로 pena ngara zo mi pena khasa nga zo ige india na la mi nga chu tu chu thaba nga chu tu chu zombare te ma che au mena da chene mi ja ni da to sun zombare tenden zombi kasula mi chi ga nga la nye da chi ko chene nga la chuen da chi jwe ya ta nge ki tene chi ngo ya da chi endu ta ne chi mi mang bo yo sa la chi ngo cha pi ya da bo tende ke thakhi chi che ba ina nge te kha tu te la gomba da chi me ba ina lamsa khol pha len lo ya chi da kho pha ya chi mara chi pi thu ta de gre ma to kho nge zogon chi ya ke gewi khene re sa ne te kokan da chu chi ya da ngarang ge sen la chu ma mo zo ya de che thu ku marwas
So, for example, let's say that I was in India, and where you have all this congregation, many people are involved, and they are living, staying there together. So, if one person comes to attack me in sense of uh, verbal brash or in terms of verbal harassment, I might not be able to resist it. I mean, I will just lash out, and I become more defensive, and my starting to also to face safe myself. I would also might be doing something very stupid as well.
che namba chu ge gom hi la kan le na as dan dan ngan zo ge shen yong nga ta nge nian kho la yue de nge ta de nge ge ende ge shu so thong de sa nang lo le ina mi mang che wa ji ge 수술을 측강에 층에 행에 질레서나 될 팔람사 렌 다가랑 제게 타히 제와 마도지게 데 게위시는 근도 했다제네 다 접바고에 그 고가라손 상에데 양 티스지 바 공리 영에 대해서 마도 뉴뉴레 되하스
Plus, in our experience, uh, everyone seems to be becoming defensive whenever someone criticized, and then those people who were criticized, they are the one who will also try to like they can how they can become more defensive. How can they shield themselves from these criticisms? And we will also engage in knee-jerk reactions. So more like an eye for an eye, and but we don't have we lack that powers of patience and uh, and humility. So we tend to act in a very negative ways whenever we were facing a crisis. That might be one of our problems as well.
데라 나랑초 단다 기위 현행 그 도시다네 저공 제토나는 사르데 인사레스 덴데 마중바이나 텔파 렌 타가란테 데발레 강게 마마와체 수수 힘동나 인제네 대가바이나 대야 지 가르세고래 매 차복간의 신샤반년바나 이 마인바체네 매 란사 현로야다버지 차야게 덴데게 야보지 인사레스 겨울하게 송바레스
Yeah, so Shivala the Injil Kanaya.
힌드 데바레가 가르고지
So Shivala, one of the gurus, yeah, Shantideva. So Shantideva has said, like, instead of making fighting fire with the fires, you need to calm down. You have to show more patience, and through that, you will have a better practice outcome.
당이 가상가 이게라 뉴 제실은 로디 잠바네 메시지 가르고스나 드리붕 로셀링 게히 깨라 첨보 안에 람린 첨모 베이네 인지간라 추 영의 게 샤레 조원낭의 겐게 가상간조 이게라 겐게 최 가르송스나 최 송효질 로주 가르송스나 녜마 조제 별로 페드 잠바데 조제라 안에 차로데 밑쪽방 에바 히브든지 티야요레스 고네베 잡주 흉에데 안에 조지 그 게투 때서 망보지게 안에 차로데 마티다 마야보지 문도 안에 때 밑쪽방 에바 히브진도 칸 카시야 men도 라만다 히게도 안에 지 셈바나포 히운두스네 근데 야 휴두스 안에 텐데 휴드 잠만에 조지 그 ngal ropa 인지 민지 따라 고고 연데 네 조공 그 게게 인스네 텐데 손베 로준두스
Mm. So there's a story of Atisha where one of the disciples tend to be a little nasty, kind of very aggressive, and also someone who easily pick up quarrel and so on. So others commented how he was a bad student to Atisha. However, Atisha Georgie responded saying that he is a perfect teacher for me. So there's no issues in communicating with him and listening to him. So that's how the Georgia Atisha taught. Like your enemies are probably your also the best support or the best corrections, best support, corrective device.
on this way ta ya 드리붕 게 이게 단계 그 songs 데 랑르 첨보 songs 세 티게 차드 레티 쳐 단드레 오야 다 때레데 캐초죠 다 텐데 제온데 감동 안선 단다 가리 37 practice jase shanju semba ke lane te sona la yena mena chi dus che unde zambane nyumul go mugo wa che nyumul dongle che ya zo khoncho ta anan da cha ta ana chi o dus che maripa te sol pha dongle cha sho de kol chanja re de res chonzo sa pa chingres
So the 37 Bodhisattva practices is all about how to tackle ignorance, angers, and desires, how we can team or make them as an antidote, how we can come up with ways to handle them.
데 제디 잠만에 네 나랑 그다 뇽소도 지 가르쳐서나 간서 표현하러 손바나 이제네 가두이나 수소냠도 가완 로나 가완 예나 가와 되나야 가르치나야 딱 수소냠도 요바데 셈데 임바데 하고고도스 마도 수소 사견주고 무이데다 수소 녀견주 캄바데다 모타데다 야나지 가두이나 수소냠도 요댕이 수소 파마 빈제다 빈자다 아니 자산다고 근데 민바데 세보레도스다 띵안서 간소 참아 통치를 열었지 가두이나 냠도 연조데 셈데 임바다다 셈데 yapochi zotuna karina mina sama de tata yung de chi imba de tene ngamsu ti si ha ko to dus.
Yeah. So basically, everything boils down to our own mental projections. All other things are secondary. So the most important thing is how our mental one project, how our mental faculty works.
Oh, te ta de jojo te inda chutu ba te inga chutu ba te ina da gi pojin che ba chambe me da la da gi ta wa chena ya ne chi ta be pola ma gi to ha par che wa jase la le yin so ro wala
Mhm.
ane so so ge put na gi che ne pha shamjong che gen jo ma ji yor wa shamjong che gen jo ma te ge so so ge pha yapo che shamjong che ngu gun ro song ta chi lo jong che ta ge rimba ten de ya lab chi yapo shamjong che gen jo ma ten de ge yang kare kare le so so le cho da na gi che ne ta che ne yang cho tin le lonja che de ten de yung gu yor es ten de yung we ken sang te le shosho ge nyang le yong ge ma chi yin ba ina te di ka so la ane 가르세고는 나차 나된조 버치라 아나 소소가 아마 나기게 양조 파 콜 퀸들레야다 녜콜 녜마 야보체일 초틴레 론자 제솔라네 다네 머지아세네 컨트롤하야 그 차라 아마 벌르제와 나기게 든데제야데 아나 자세 산조세메 라레인 송고요레스.
So one of the 37 practices of Bodhisattva is when someone has been very harsh critics of you, you are still going to treat him as the son of your mothers. Some harsh, they have done something angry and so on. So still, you treat them as someone very loving and care and kindness.
대송어도 와라. 다 제가 든데 채운데 간소 그 냥같이 걸어하고 그것도 세나 간소 쉬운 거 차네 파로빠 전조돼서 망쳐와라 축강을 레와지 여된 조선다 보지 접된 조선다 든데지 차고도 와 저왕문에 저와 양따빠다 로빠 양따빠디 임바이나 가르스르고 unconditional love 세야지야 대존다 제네 수레와 게메 바지 하효들 지 페로 제나 데네네 다가랑 드르손 삼산다고지요 코 카콤지 잡아네 추줄로디 코콤지 스테소나 데네 제는 남주 쳤대나 때 가르쳐나 좀 대서 산노처럼 마땅지네 코콤세는 드르손 사야지 와 대존다고지 그거 살아있어.
So when you are thirsty, you need water to quench it. So similarly, like when you are in trouble, when you have an issue, then you also resort to 37 practice of Bodhisattva.
다 되네네. pena dinalo lo chosho nalo la jase lane so dinalo karu songo de sena nganzo ki nganzo la pena chasha pa na nganzo la suso la zambuli ndi kanalo la suso la kade lege do sena suso la ndewa yonjo ke mechi suso ndewa yonjo che suso ke chi khata ta ande ke chi ndewa yonjo chi che te mai ben ndewa menjo ke meni che ane yang chi suso le yun te towa ya yun jo che kashi yang suso le ma yun te ma wa yun jo che ta kanda diso chasang ke suso le che tang kari che so na dili pa big pa donne che tang de chasang rimba ji lag dus tende indi tsamba ne do dun ni he ba ina suso ke te na lo la seng jasen la ne so dun de lo jong ya po chi che ba ina shilo kawan roba ina susun zambulin de kawan roba ina kanda susul dachone mebachi tende chasares.
So I feel like when you truly practice the 37 of Bodhisattva practices, I truly feel that you can walk around with a high confidence, projecting your shoulders and head in a much more positions. And I can fully grasp the extent and the thoroughness of this Bodhisattva practices.
다 제자 다 디나로 가르친 것도 세나 안저 좁제 된 로고나 죽고 된 로고나 람다 냠바 멤비 제오 인스 ngaji wangke nyethap chenaya lama yimdu kubi danichi ane chewo lemba jase lalen yin sor wala pena ngara mankho do china lo di New York na lo la subway de mangbu do o tena yi chene mankho do china rogu yana da namdo do china rogu yana da so so le penjo ta chogu ta chi yuen da dinde so so da ranya injo ina da 수솔에 쪼와 이나다 덴데게야 까르 콘소게 나제다 덴데 고한게 수솔로 춘예 고야라고 중바 임바 이나야 안 티비 카톨라야 조파키 라마다고 이 산에 아네 바디 파칸라 디체야데 콜 귀헤제야도 선다지 다 류그 귀헤제마제 수소 따는 디고래 안다 셈 나로라 오 나라 저곤지 take doa samsa tende ji train chene dethuna ya khanda manda cha susol kange mewa cha sare la nyoda shiung gu chane nyoda tane ka sares
So so this 37 practice was start and 제 타마데 수지라다 간다는 거지.
lama yimdu kupi dani je chor lemba jase lale yinsir
Oh. So even your enemies, you will treat them with respect, as much respect as you show to your teachers, actual teachers. So same thing. You have such a desire strong for the welfare, for the well-being of others.
on this what
Oh.
what tende re de ta di oma de chi de pe de le cha chowi phong he ta do me ne chapche ne tam den ji tab cha har sor wa roki de to dala len je ji humba me pa jase la le yin son de chambane tan di pen cha cha ban nga da ji cha cha nga panggo cha ro gar da nga panggo cha ro hyore ka ke yo mare nga la mene thane chogo da to so te cha la ka ke yo mare 다 대칸라 nga pango cha dewa 대칸라 nga na ngor ta dit wala ni je New York la homeless pe mangbudu te zone ji chan khyor ta nga penjo kanla yo mare te ma che nga le nacha ji le khyor ta nacha ji le on de du nge ta sem de dabo jatu wa ina nge sem de dabo de kande ji dedu ka so la dabo de kande ji jagu gor sana 다 셈제 타이버 참마게 지 강연다고데 단데 갈 강연 주 존선에 셈제 타이버 참마게 강연데 녜길 니그 고초와 쇼와 삼산다보지 단데 상야라 아니 셈바 흉바 메바 셈바라 닌도 용에 단데 주고 그래 세고레스
So when you are physically weak, you have some physical health problems. It seems everything is overwhelming. But then, even though there's this external issues, if you can keep your mind calm, then you can overcome it in the sense that you wish that the sufferings that you go through, like the whole homeless people that they go through, you wish that the sufferings that you are going through, you will also take away the sufferings of others, like only, and in that way you will be able to challenge, you will be able to handle it, face it well in a much better positions.
어 때레죠 단디 단다 체장 가르세나 강에나라 말훈디 송송아 다디기 츠오마디 가르송 거르세나 냠바 trahin roman 찌위 띠 남퇴 보여 너다 토조장 아는 시비 벤조 님보 메지니 켐바 메바 자세라니 인시데 되게 도쇼 토네 송거르다 답벨 차샤바이나가 아메리카나노라 벤조 깨다청보 일론 마스키네 된다보지 차베 왕도 땅바 이나 오야 된다보지 차바 이나야 nga hyuji tang nga je tam ane ti kingje tam tende khu chenbo ji male wa che ane penjo singe de tanda yona ya tata mengi chando reda sene sipi penjo de ko neka tang reda samsanda wo chene ngaja khende me pa che sem de yapo nem suya de jasi sanju sembe lale re sungores.
Yeah. So when you like, even if you become rich, you are a person of well-to-do, and then instead of showing pride in your accomplishment success, knowing that these things can also last momentarily, it can go away. And then if you remain more humble, this will help you for opponents and it could change directions.
Oh ya ta de go ma de ge de ge dom ji de do acho rangi hedam dawo matuna shiro dawo to he pewan jos deshe shamda ninje mapon ki rangjun do jase lani yin sonrwa ta tanda dodo he bayina ja sena nye sena zo su su ge sem de res kanje maje tsama seng ge zönjo res tende yimba sonda shiro ge dawo se ya de ji meba sona 양조 지 레옹고레 니 메바스나 양조 송 레옹고레 쇼로그 다워세야 데 레레레 제네 도세 똑한도네 세간도데 거나 조야지 칼레 카보레스 덴데 임바 손자 랑기 헤당그 다워데 메바 조차와이나 아네 다워 참마 뛰차와다 찌빠찌장 차고요레스.
So everything boils down to your own mental disposition, and it depends a lot on it. For example, if you have external enemies, if you are able to exterminate one of them, then there might be some others will come along the way. However, the true enemy is within yourselves, such as your aggressions and so on. So if you are able to conquer your inner enemies, then that's when you are able to conquer all of them. That is the most. That's how where you will emerge in triumph.
오 덴데 인디 잠바네 다 나랑서 류제 답고 제고 외라라 대다 냠돌라네 남 센데 델레장 답고 제데 겐 체와 임바데 단 디게 송고도스.
So as much as we take care of our body, we're also taking care of our mind is what's one of the Bodhisattva practices speaks to.
다 디지 휴야긴다. 뇌배 유엔데 렌체 초단라스 제잠 제제 세법 패원 요스 하나 현차 제 뭐보남 텔레폰 자세라는 인송로라 당원에 다는 간서 디스카상아 뉴욕 레지 간서 라마티그 송소 어 집에 가르쳐고 꼬아 졸라인데 보모 다 대소기 계약은 졸라 레세 되나는 졸라 참마 만체와데 다 고몰 집바이나 문이 송 뉴탈 문이 송 강래야 인조 짠자 레세 제장 된데는 인디 잠바네 제장 뭐보 그 린탕세야 돼 캔사보다 희부 초고 당안 초고 초나라 신고보 그 자라기 린탕세야 주어 봐 지기 남도 그랑파 따네 어느 차다 쟁에 깨다 청보 지기 키제네 차다 제게도 어느 참마가 이나 샤네 펀들에 뇨네 띠꿀 주노고도와 마도 뇌네 코란솔 린탕다 게 요사 말에 다 된데 인디 잠바네 제장 뇌비 윤데 렌치 초단다 세데 잠바네 뇌바게 나랑서 디 현차제 대사 대서 만체와데 추차고다 지바레스 가츠파 제네 제소나 데네네 수소 침네 따단 르수아 사야주 드나에 응해서 말레스 가츠파 베제 땅바이나 데네는 당아 체르 로야마도 덴데 인디 잠만에 대소 리텔라 담보네 파 당아 까야다 차세 까야데 네 개청보 희부 인사레스.
So as a monk, we are also amazed as how things are valued the valuations of possessions that you have. For example, some of the brand names of a woman's bag appears to be so expensive. It's mind-boggling for us how that could be expensive. It actually doesn't seem to have any much of utility other than a normal bag and so on. However, it is through advertisements and other strategies and people of popular people, so they just kind of through their advertisement that it becomes such valuable things and so on. So, however, if what we need to know is desire, the desire we wanting more and more, it is like drinking salty waters, because the more you desire, the more you need it. It never becomes less. And so therefore it is ever never satisfying. You can never be satisfied through your desire. The only way that you can make yourself satisfying is by listening your desire, your your attachment. So that's what it says.
단 되게 내가 해보죠 송거도다 리치 오마 되게 저단 항원 더다랑 그 세면세 세니 되네 쪼비 타다 잘 송어와라 데니히니 존지 체마나 일라메지 자세라는 인소래 당 나랑 쪽에 남주 나랑 쪽에 공실 가르여서나 소소 그 미기 가르 통서나 통하나기 여상거래 젤레게 좋아한다고 가르 뇽서나 다가나기 인상거래 ane tena ki lula kar resona rewana ki taka yin samdi gorda te pete ngarang su chema hiwa tsigo warta te ina ya ten ngoma la kar sena ngarang su ki gongi ki heba jorwa gongi ki heba te ki kaa yu zunya tsama yu te tata ji chun zungu ya samare se chunjo chanja re de hyas.
So for example, like whenever we see something, we can tend to believe it. So whenever we think something, we tend to believe it. So, however, it is all about like our projections. So there may be a discrepancy in between the reality of the thing and the way we perceived it.
Nga pena chakya bayna nga dabu china supin hibu sago warda nga supin li hibu gabu warda supin chowa di hibu nyangu warda supin chowa hibu nyangu supin mambu sagya di tama ta nga ranga a chowa ndu himbu ndu sangu warde jela poka la nyo china poka na china kange tede dende nesu yungu yores ta ngi himbu ta pembu tsigu yores zidu.
Very, very delicious. I tend to overeat this chili, and then it leads to gastric problems with your gastric, and that's a result of having something more and more, desiring it more. So it's serving me serving me not well.
제 양 되는 이게 샤츠고 수소 zupo 내되게 나야 샤 칠루 연조다 샤 힘보다 양 찌찌미찌찌 샤的 좋아 연조 히버레스는 양 젤레디가 좋아 있는 지 즈에체네 때 뇽체네 젤 수소 나데네 수트넬 하고도스.
So same thing, like what should I say? Kan language it
pena xial pe ya go jo ta xial tsilu la ga we wang gi tsilu go chowa de tele de gi hebu nyong ge wang ge chi cha nang lo la xia le na ya xia tsilu yen jo sa do go ro wa.
So, for example, some of us enjoy eating fat, like fat in the meat, and we find it delicious. We find it tasty. However, it will also lead us to overweight, lead us to other health issues. even though it will bring all these kind of resolve problems, we still keep on doing such things.
대나시게 거래 나라서 미티게 이동와 희우지 따는 제보다 니 제보다 아가 소인체 르땅 투사 인삼사다 든지 따체네 가보체네 야 제르 되게 소소로 축간라 강에 남소때 돼 든데 용되게 도와서 대인도 간소 딱 공에게 해봐 주어와 간다 딜라 체마다 되게 따와나기 단 되게 통하나기 추는 요 말이스.
Then there are examples of how when you see someone who you fell in love with, find it very attractive, to whom you feel like you can even sacrifice your own lives. But then at the end, then it'll also kind of bite you back. You will ended up in bigger troubles and so on. So therefore, from this perspective, whatever our five senses see, the senses we have through our five senses, whatever it perceives, it's not necessarily going to be accurate at the same time.
근데 인지 잠만에 쇼진의 나라쪽에 가두이나 가르펜토우도서나 수소 메페바 인산야지다 수소게 따바다 수소게 통바다 다디기 지실라 수소게 삼바나 이지 펜체 안드 요지 마라 삼사제 담번이 텐토바이나 가리이나라 동네 제야데 답되고 차가도스 수소게 텐드르데 수소게 테 따따 레데 짠자 사이가바이나 아니 메파교는 노아지 통바이노 자차자 코 노데요레 nga no me sansa chene ne lente ya ta kanju maju che ya chasan dene le de dus ta kanda suso ran jacha jan de samba ina tik golo chasan dene che de dus.
So one of the problems of communication is the assumption that our perceptions are always correct, and so that leads to many problems. So therefore, what we need to understand is our perceptions are subjective, not objective, and we can these things in the wrong way. That reality, that understanding is pretty important for us.
최장 근데 용데 나랑 졸라 추나 mambo 히고지 여바당 나랑 저거 따와나기 때매 삼산답때 땡고야데 빼 개첨버레데 하스 단다디기 디송데 거다 나랑 졸라 문에 체마 짱만다고지 가디여르세나 니루테 또네 니루데 곰체네 아니 문에 타네 니루테 문에 타네 그빼 짱마 짱자지 통데 되서 되들 다 체마 짱마지 로 짱마지 로 양다바지 되도 게는 인사라마도 게 단단내가로 로 양다바디 칼레 카보 인사레스.
Yeah. So it's important to realize and understand what we perceive is not necessarily always the correct thing. There could be implicit bias and so on. So understanding this reality is turned out to be true. Very important.
당에게 내내를 가르상고도 되나 얘게 내내를 가르상고도 되나 나라 쪽에 쇼지 러단지 제바이나 수소그 로데서 양다바 말에 수소기 파 따수 통수 참아데 따다 대요 말에 세야디게 계자 개사지 위원로데 니게 가르하 고고도세나 나라 쪽에 니루 양다바 초야를 펜토야지 단 단다 봐도 나라 쪽 니루를 몬데요 바테 수소를 라지 최고도스 ran choya de ngansol koga zambo hiwji rekha mato te raman cho pa ina ngansol muntu ni nilu la mom che ne ane lang lopa wangi gel tagara muntu ni roya de chando sares.
Yeah, so this is a good reminder for us of our own imperfections, like how things might not be as it appears, could be completely opposite. So having an understanding, reminding ourselves with this reality is always helpful.
Oh, tende na bore he jojo. Tadi zi wo ma de zo pe le la bo re sha yi du yu da che pa na ya ji tu jin jang sun ji jing do ze pa na ya dem ba ma ta hin na hian cha pong wa ja se la len yin se la re ta pe na ngam so che za dang ge ngwe len de pe yin de len si chu dan da se ya de so ra bo yo re di kanda yi su so ge sem na lo la ta di ni ji bo he wo do sa ne ta ti ki che do ka re na lo ta sha go re ti su so la ra wa che sha go sa ya da ba ten de le wa yi na ten da wan ze pa de ya ka le ge rembu na yi re sa ne ten de sa no chi tang go re s ne ka chang ji yo pa re ma do ten ne lang sa me ba cha ro ya chi ta ti tan da mang bo he wo thong ya do ten da wa rang sa ya ta ma ta che da ane ten de yin du chang ba ne ze par na ya dem ba me ta hin se du chang ba ne 수소는 재판 한국에는 재판 하거나 이 다가랑 요 말에 삼사대 따네 어느 수소 그 간답 좀 맞다자 광구야 되 나로 차선들에스
Mhm. So the most important thing is we need to avoid desire, because our desire sometimes becomes so uncontrollable, and we think we can give up anything for it. But it is very temporary, and what we perceive will not be what we think it will be. And so there are so many examples as you see around how it is short-lived and so on.
어 들리지 땅간소 디 돌링간 로기안 디사르가 브라더 렌스
Can we please move to the discussions now, discussion part of it?
어 here this mandament songs
I
Yes,
might have spoke too much now. Yeah.
No. Thank you very much. Thank you, and Dorje, thank you very much for bearing with this while you're in the car like this. I know it's difficult. Thank you. And yes, so we should open this up to a discussion for the sake of our discussion is important. So, in speaking, if you were listening, I was trying to take some notes and so on. And Geshe was going along and he was addressing the different points of these 16 verses of these, not the 16, but 16 through 21. And so would somebody like to comment? So a couple things that I noted down were there was forgiveness, there was raising one who is causing problems as our teacher, instead of being, subdued by them, we think of them as our teacher. Misconceptions that we take on their misdeeds of what they do as misconceptions, so etc. Would somebody like to comment on how these landed on you? All right, I'll ask Bernie. Brother Bernie, you've been at this a long time, and I'm sure you've heard these 37 practices many times, and I'm sure that you practice the 37 practices. You have much opportunity. So could you take a few examples of what verse 16, 17, 18, etc. Means to you?
Okay, well, I can basically repeat what I've heard from other teachers, but okay, starting
Well,
with
how does it
number
affect
16.
you? How does it affect, how has it changed you, and what have you
Well,
done in your life? That's the important discussion.
Well, the truth is, the honest truth is, it's very disappointing when you stop and think about, no matter how many teachings you've heard, how little your life has changed as a result. And that's, I find, true with all religions. There are very few Christians whose behavior follows the example of Christ, and I'd say probably with Buddhists the same thing, that we it's very easy to learn these things intellectually, very much more difficult to put them into practice. Now, people tell me that well, Pete tells me, I don't know anybody else said it, that really seen a change in my behavior. And I really contribute that mostly to, or contribute is maybe not the correct verb, blame that mostly on the practice of Avalokiteshvara. Doing that practice every day has had the tendency to really make me a better person, I think. But as far as these sayings go, the 16 is when I particularly try to take it hard. And that the verse number 16, which says that it's, when we think about other people, we have to realize that their behavior represents, at least partially, an illness. And this is, well, you're going to hate me for saying this, but I'll say it anyway. One of the things that I've really changed my behavior is that the study of homeopathy and the study of the different constitutional types. And when you meet people, you say, "Oh, this person is a sulfur, is like a sulfur, and he has this problem," or "Oh, this woman is like a sepia, and it's that's why she behaves like it does." And really just understanding that a lot of times that the people's behaviors see really represents their constitutional tendencies. Some people tend to be nervous and very perfectionistic. Other people are more sloppy and more grandiose. Other people, let's say our current president, uh, tend to look down on people who are beneath them and suck up to people who are powerful. These are all constitutional tendencies, and anybody who studied homeopathy knows how this reflects various different remedies. And when you realize that people's behavior really is a reflection of their illness on a psychological or spiritual level, it really makes them easier to deal with than to blame themselves for what they're doing. You have to realize that it's a tendency that represents their psychological nature. So that's for number 16. And I'm sure
Hold on one second, because there was a lot that you said.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
It needs a translation. I'm sorry.
Geshe, did you understand some of that? I see Yangshin, I think, is with us, and Dorje went away. Would you like Yangshin to maybe give a little bit of translation for that?
Yeah, I should have been simpler in what I said. So
It's okay.
Okay, yeah, Brother Lance, yeah, I just switched the phone.
Oh, I see.
And yeah, so point that so this you good that the karasore migi natsa yoni to your wala natsa yonki the Quran yanchi gargagumandusana michi gi middle natsa da buchi yopaina and cook the chingy diggy change in chichumba res ani pena chasha pana tandang and sugo sinzidi Peshashana sinzidi micho al pet tonchu shede and abutaya mi jutonjo unit is all pedia pele da shuya chia zide and abutubi chi ngudus ana mi hemba mi ying ko la shede ti mi hini te so la ya jun chanda buti de ni tungu de se gesha de ni yo chi de sha
No. Lasa, pay abunda. Very.
thank you
Thank you.
So,
Continue.
Bernie, could you go on and talk about verse number 17? How does that land on you? Have you had experience with that?
Verse number 17 is something that I didn't realize at one time, but realize now, how most men, especially in this culture, are very competitive, and they hate being considered inferior to others. And when somebody insults them in any kind of way that that makes them, puts them down in one way or another, the reaction is likely to be very much an angry one. You gotta understand that this is all a game, a social game that people play, that this idea of being better than someone or inferior to another person or superior to them. And you see it all the time in social media. See how people really, they look like they're arguing about one subject or another, but really it's really a game of, well, here's a verb, here's a noun that you know, but probably is impossible to translate into Tibetan, one-upmanship. And you see that all the time. I see it all the time. And it really represents a bunch of beetles in a pile where each beetle is trying to be the top beetle in the pile. It's all senseless, and there's no point to it. And the idea of thinking of yourself as better than another or feeling bad when somebody else puts you down is really, it's really like worrying about ghosts. It's something that doesn't, or something else that doesn't really exist. I don't know, ghosts is the best example. It's a non-existent thing that everybody so much bases their life on, but they really has no existence, no point, and no essence. So that's number 17 to
Well,
me.
does the suggestion of the instruction here to take
put them
that
on the crown of
person
your head?
and place them on the top of your head as a guru, in other words, as a teacher to you? I mean,
Well,
how easy does that come to you, and are you able to do that?
well, the point is your friends are never going to criticize you. Your friends are going to praise you. The only place you're ever going to get criticism is from your enemies. So you should, well, maybe enemy is the wrong word, but you should listen to people who don't like you because you're going to learn something that you would never learn from your friends.
Okay. Georgie, can you translate that, please?
딱 그런 게 들었지 손소 단단히 주딩 딜러와 주딩 딜러 소야다 보치 조치데 데레데샤 딱가르서 그랬지 미기 저한테 보콜로 땅하에 뜻 세보치 테마도 보니 마음보다 보치 셰수 미기 저와 셰탄다 아니 미치지레 위셔 셰탄다 보다 일단 저 콜로 보치 데데샤다
Very thoroughly payable. Perfect. Payable.
Okay, thank you. All right, Bernie, thank you very much. I'd like to, Alex had turned on his camera. I thought maybe he might have something to add. Would you like to comment, Alex, on verse 18 first?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
yes
Okay. Well, I'm sorry I don't have the text right in front of me quickly.
Well, I can
but I do.
share it. I can screen share.
Yeah. Okay.
You want to read it out loud?
Though one may have an impoverished life, although be disparaged by others, afflicted by dangerous illness and evil spirit, to be without discouragement and to take upon oneself all the misdeeds and suffering of beings is the Bodhisattva's practice. Oh, very good. That is actually a question I had that can be directly related to this and maybe other verses as well. Well, Bernie was speaking about Game of Thrones or whatever, whoever is first. But I'm thinking that Well, I mean, in society, we do have a certain kind of reputation and status, and we probably want to be trusted. We want to be seen as reliable and like honest people, because we want to contribute to the society, and we may not be able to do that if people think of us as bad guys, as unreliable or whatever. So how do we, and also for ourselves, like if we know that other people think about us as not who we are, but as what somebody told about us because of their evil agenda, so to speak, we may not feel confident, we may feel shy, we may feel not reaching our own potential. So I'm a bit struggling in, I understand, and actually I do appreciate this practice of seeing the other person as our teacher, and I accept it. But like, how would we deal with such situations so we don't put ourselves into kind of a miserable position where we are unable to do things for others, or like be seen as decent people by others, uh, in if such challenging situation arises.
Something that always I kind of interpret this as saying that there's people who live in lands and nations or whatever that are quite primitive compared to the way that we live. They don't have the kind of homes that we have. They don't have the kind of accoutrements around them that we have, and they're more susceptible to disease and so on like that. But when you get to know some of those people who are spiritually aware, those people have um, have an understanding that they can translate to other people. In other words, they have prayers for us, because all they see is our impoverishment. All they see is our disease. They don't see themselves, but those people can see that those people may have all these things, may have all these wonderful houses and live in wonderful places and have great education, but inside they themselves are impoverished. Does that make sense to you? Can you see it that way? Alex?
Um, uh, well, I think I agree to what you're saying. I'm just not totally following your line of thought, but
Well, let me say it this way.
I
Let me
mean,
try and be a little bit
mhm.
more clear. Take the Tibetan people, for instance. It was, one of the rationales, I think, that the Chinese government had was to liberate these people from their impoverishment. And
Yeah.
but it's the Tibetan people that have forgiveness for the Chinese people, because they don't understand. Yes, they may be simple people. They may not have all the accoutrements that we do in the West or even in China and so on, but they were happy people. They were much happier, and they're able to see the difference of that and be able to have forgiveness for those people, the Chinese people who were trying to quote unquote liberate them. So let's give Dorje an opportunity to translate all of that to Geshe, please.
Lensk de songudo da lokal patadu mitsol pa karine yede jodo chiche 최근부터는 무슨 가리네 지 여대반다 뭐지 들리지 토나는 연구연아야 낭토니아 프랑스를 가리네 지 푸대반다 뭐지 pena ta pepa chola ta chi jami ki ka ke me pa chi pangu sui kari ni chi jesha de pepa ton chola yan chi fran chola chi papi ki yan chi kari ni chi chubu yo panda chi chobu yo re ine jami kora jo ke pe de me ba ze tri shere de ya fran chola pe shibu chi ki a ta shu chi to ni yo pa ke de chwa me pa fran chola yan chi 동네에서 내가 나가고 집수대 받아봤더 리 좋아지는 거예요. 근데가 어찌래서 film.
라서 다가라래
Yeah, I agree, brother. Lance's illustrations like how even if you do something, you still feel improvised and so on.
nga chi yo cho hue chi tanda brother lens ke somba na gi nga chowa kar le gi se na ngam so ram che hyo bare jana khorang so tanda je kha yön jo re te yina ya chapsi ta tawan thum mun the de ge wang ge shin je pe ge khorang go wola pen thombo tanda jana ge pe de pen rimba mi dumba na lo le de ge tendri rit so ya pe de chechon chung ro ya jono chama yong ye chen ro ya o tendeki nesu yani yando tensons tensang ganso böge bö rangsho jonsene jami koranso mi ta gen jo tsok nalo lo tenga pengbo che ding tsok sama tsangkhana lu ndze che ngo pedi ngene che ni ngodi go ya tende chaso le chi garse gore suso che tang ta ta mandi ba ina rangse yo me yo da jekha yo me ke mundu asamsa tende chi chona le sons amsa di chi shan de res
So my feeling is like, as Brother Lance said, it's like accurate, it's right. Like how we were deprived independence, freedoms, and we were in exiles and so on. So, however, the Chinese leaderships, such as this thing is the current president, and so what happened is that even though that they have everything, including their sovereignties and so on, but still there are so much like a power struggle. Even the top ranking officials were not spared, and they, through hard power struggle, people are purged to the point that they are so out. So not everything such as independence, freedom, and so on, they are not necessarily the happiest or who have everything under their control. Rather, we see so much turmoil and uncertainty and insecure in those places as well.
Yes, thank you very much. I'd like to, I want to save 20 and 21 for Zara, if she would comment on those. But before we go there, Alex, would you just briefly, as you can, comment on 19? And I'm going to put it back up on the screen. There we are. Can you see that? Can you recite that?
Yes. Though one may be famous and revered by many people or gain wealth like that of Vaishravana, having realized that worldly fortune without essence to be unconceited is the Bodhisattva's practice. Yes,
Yeah.
I mean, those are the things that I often kind of think for myself while being in the science world. we often see people coming to a height of their being famous or leading big institutions, and sometimes it's accompanied by a lot of proper merits, but oftentimes it's either luck or their own kind of political game, bringing the success to them. So you often think like how much it's worth investing your own time in these games, as the outcomes is often very, very much uncertain. So as for myself, I decided, well, I'll do the best I can do in serving others, and if they find I'm worthy of something, I let them say something or do something to be elevated, but I will not really go out of my way to get to any particular position, and that made my life so much more content and peaceful.
So is it fair to say that your humility, your humbleness, has been the way in which you've conducted yourself, with other people and so on? There may be a bureaucracy that you're working in, but you're not going to get caught up in that who's better than somebody else, who takes all the credit.
Yes, and like I've seen so many struggles of people fighting for authorship on the papers, who is first author, who is last author, all those things, and I'm trying to escape a lot of that. But I should say, like, I would be nowhere close to such positions, such attitude, if I didn't come across Buddhist teachings that kind of helped me to drill in my own head how detrimental those struggles can be. And well, once in a while I am tempted to go into into this game, but thankfully I have you brothers to help hold me down a little bit, remind what is the true values in life.
Well, very good. It's a two-way street.
Yeah.
Dorje La, brother, could you
Yes, brother.
translate that? Could you translate that for Geshe, please?
Oh, brother, can you repeat it in a gist, in one sentence, in gist that I will translate that. I also didn't grasp it fully.
I was speaking about how in science world that I live in, there is a lot of struggle for positions or like authorship on the papers, and who gets most credit for this or that, and how you all guys help me stay away from that and maintain my own peace and serenity,
Oh,
and do the best that I can for humanity or
okay.
for society.
Wonderful. This one good Korean science the Quran and the theory dancing a lega cheni to the chiro. And it did chick now that on the ya Quran so sugi lega yawa chegi lega le munzi chegu sug manju pa yori se takanda nyong bitindi ki mapochi chede to the chire the shas. The in a chance Mansuki Tanda Digi Chida, Jiti, the Digi Sheon, Yendu, Tsu, Ro Mila, Paintoya, Karindo, the Digi Shawan on the shoot, Juade, Polohan Chewa, Jindu, Shimban, Den Senda, Anin Den Senda, Anin York Sing, the Dili Maimba, Point Yembatanam, so Jinja Yobata, the Ditola here, the Gachewa gives the ground this one.
Lots. Yeah, point. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Let me move to Zara. Zara, please, can you comment on 20 and then 21, leaving enough time to have translation?
Sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome. For 20, if outer foes are destroyed while not subduing the enemy of one's own hatred, enemies will only increase. Therefore, subduing one's own mind with the army of love and compassion is the Bodhisattva's practice. So in reading this, I think of when we do like body, speech, and mind, we do our closing prayers. This is really elaborating on you have to have your heart, mind, your mindset. You have to constantly be on guard with your thoughts, because what's happening here impacts your attention and the environment, and then your action, your karma, that has the karmic consequences. So when I'm reading 20, I'm thinking of you have to constantly be aware of your thought stream, and it's like every moment, every thought, and bring it back to, is this a positive neutral thought or is this a negative thought? And the psycho-afflictive motions requires self-discernment and skillful means of your own self to know if you are someone who goes to anger, jealousy, hatred. You have to know your own karma, your own habitual tendencies in your mind. I can stop there for translation.
Okay, ta Quran di soyan chi dire de sha karsogro tada nishud ma lo so ta nishud de ta nanduen da kari yimi di zo jin de hida bu ji je ani mog dil ko da bu karle mi ti da bu chi she de ta ma.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, please keep on going.
Okay, thank you. 21, indulging sense pleasures is like drinking salt water. However much one indulges, thirst and craving only increase. Immediately abandoning whatever things give rise to clinging and attachment is the Bodhisattva's practice. So then I think of the body, speech, and mind. So I think of the physical body, and again, you have to know what your habitual, your personality or your tendencies are for the 5 main sense organs: sight, smell, taste, touch, so that because you're chasing desires to think, if I get this, I become happy, but you're constantly misunderstanding the craving and the object of it are actually 2 different things to bring up. So you're focused on yourself. So I'm thinking about like 20, where you have to know your own, like if you get jealous or hatred or lust, but for this, you have to know your sense organs, what you're craving, if it's physical, if whatever it is, and then you can work on that and then shift it towards true bodhicitta, where you're not desiring, you're just existing without attachment to the object.
So have you been able to apply this in your own life, these past few years and so on?
Yeah. Practically speaking, with food, because I was constantly craving sugar and caffeine because of my lifestyle and working all the time. Now I have discernment where I can realize the caffeine is not going to make me happy. It's actually going to make things worse. So it's a very simple example with food. That's an easy example that most people can understand, like craving for chocolate or salts or something. And so, yeah, so I call it facing the headwind, where you look at it and you recognize in that moment what's happening. It's a compulsion or compulsive behavior or the addiction, and getting a hold of it. And it's desire and will, right? So making a discernment between, you have the will to say no, and it's just a habit, like almost animalistic, like a reflex. So maybe you crave a bag of potato chips and I crave a bag of chocolate. and it's just a habit. It's like we're not even thinking about it. You have to get a hold of whatever it is and say, this is happening right now. And then once you stop thinking about yourself, then your mind opens up to be able to have love for everyone else. When you stop worrying about your own habitual tendencies, that's where bodhicitta happens, when you free yourself from your addictions. And that's happened for me.
Very good. Thank you very much. Dujila?
Da Korean ge soya chi di sungu da. Da ma Korean ge karsu gre chi saya tu su ke ko la Korean ya gabo shibu chi ba ji sugar da karsu gre chi caffeine sa da da tni le gabo chi ne mus tun so la ya Korean la nyu yo pa da bo tni ji da bo chi shu ani de le ti chi ni pa pang to and we go do sa chi da da mun tu de hi da bo chi da de zo chi
다라마래 라슬라서 제가 당긴 가서 뒤 쉬어지요 나랑서 고개기 해봐 그강 통야 참마데 세마레 자자자 세마레요 말해서 가서 뒤라 춘조 몸보 열에 손에 뒤강라 자라게 따다다버지 손대기도 때 야부페도 터체
Okay, thank you. You are right on spot in terms of what I mentioned about the five senses, like the projections and the reality and so on.
Thank you.
Please go ahead. Yeah.
Lance, I had a question that I'd like to pose to Geshe.
Please, go right ahead.
Can you help me understand, so Buddhahood and bodhicitta, or being bodhisattva, what is actually the difference in real life? So being fully enlightened, but then I'm trying to understand the practical difference between someone who is actually in samsara. However, I think they're like a Buddha who is in samsara, and we're calling them bodhicitta. When I am trying to understand all my readings and experiential application, I'm very confused about Buddha and then bodhicitta, bodhisattva.
Okay. According to this one, Buddha da Bodhisattva se chiwa tini parul chepa de karere se this one da.
bodhicitta lana shamshu ku senderwa
Oh.
Buddha lana sanje khonarwa
Zara, do you mean Bodhicitta and Buddha or Bodhisattva and Buddha, the difference?
The three of them.
yeah
Oh, what this from Jack Cheba the
bodhisattva le te jase shanju se me lalen de marve
I mean, Buddha, between being someone who is fully
Bodhisattva
enlightened.
is the practice. Yeah.
Okay, so
Go
bodhisattva,
ahead.
can a bodhisattva also be a Buddha? Someone who's already attained enlightenment and is coming back into samsara to help others up level spiritually.
Bodhisattva is like the Shamchu Semparwade.
oh yeah te shanju
Shamchu
semba
Semparo.
wa yeah
Oh.
tandi dekha nge tambo ti khya del zaral kar khya insan zara ko ti confuse cha so son de do che confuse cha wa tel nge tuje che khya ins
Okay, so Zara, you said well, you're confused with the differences between the three. So I think that's good. That's a good way to well understand. I would like to say thank you for that.
tambo ngamson rotan de tus re do da tambo sanu tam ne confuse cha go do sanu chi mata na chi ko confuse ka ke cha yo mar confuse ma cha ba ina ane sebo cha jo ra clear cha de duna yo mares te me de chamba ne ta clear cha ke pe de langa yichan da de leng hyores pe msi ya pores
Why I say thank you and why I say it's a good thing is because only when you are thinking, then you get confused. Without putting into any thinking, there's nothing to get confused because you will not understand it. So therefore, when you are confused, then you will find clarity, and then once you find clarity, then that's only when you fully grasp it. So that's why I say it's a good to get confused.
The brother Lensky tanda teach your ngaranto discuss group de miyu de tagarang chi tambo machine ba de thomaya ge tenene pa thong ba saya da ane sebo chaya da ane sebo chaso na suso sem le ke ya da that thing around so miyu de ro.
So the very study group that we have is also that's it's also its goal to clarify issues and then get full understanding of what it is, and it is going to serve that purposes as well.
That thing in the chetang so Buddha de karesana ngarang so samage that all session being turn chasa drup thunge rani la nupa chasa yenge te yotang de karesana rani ki chön chama zo cha yönde chasa yöde de chamba nupa de yönjo chakhas tel Buddha resta.
So Buddha is someone who has enlightened and then who can do beneficial things for all the sentient beings. Because Buddha means someone who enlightened, means that one who knows everything, who has no imperfections. And so with that, he has that power to help alleviate sufferings of all the sentient beings. That's why he is the Buddha, the one who has enlightened.
Bodhisattva lana Buddha de ngege drugu gudu Buddha nga togu gudu sangye ge lo de re khas Bodhisattva lana dege Buddha de nge togu gudu Buddha ngara Buddha cha gudu sangya de garjene sangwe resana ngege semje chamala phendo je guguyes semje chamala deva twin thu guguyes te twin thu bala ngara tanda nipa mundu ngara maumba Buddha machana tingi chasanji doba kanga ju zo thu mundu tene imba sonsa nga Buddha chago sange Buddha drugo samsar lo tela Bodhisattva lago res.
So that mind, that strong desire, the mind that tells you, unless you achieved enlightenment, unless you achieve Buddhahood, there is no way you can help alleviate the sufferings of other sentient beings. So that strong desires, that abilities to achieve enlightenment and Buddhahood, so that mind is called Bodhicitta. So it is the mind's desire and so on.
Ta Bodhisattva la nga so shangchu semba la de kandren do sena shangchu gu sem de rani gu jula che tanda Bodhicitta de rani gu jula che te chibu che wa chanji digu yo mare ta Buddhan roya ka langa de lo gu yo ba sonza ane Buddhan roya ka langa de lo ne lane tangi nga so sunju sodyu yo te so lane ke ane sem jam dinge tela ane shangchu semba am Bodhisattva in tela go res.
So Bodhisattva is the one who understands that in order to attain Buddhahood, then you have to have that bodhicittas, that mind. And then with that mind, you put into practices those strategies, and then that thing being that is practicing those Bodhisattva these things, the practices in order to become Buddhahood is called Bodhisattvas.
Oh yeah, ta techo samga tele tsawa thomi gonda batale kar guguyeresana an compassion da an love lad guguyeres love said chorinda wata khashi chil love mare semje chamala love yenjo di guguyeres ta tsewa ninje chembo said.
So the condition of the Bodhisattva is the one who has unconditional love to everyone, everybody, as one great beings. Oh
yeah, that
yeah, that's much.
Thank you very much for answering that.
Thank you. That's a really good question and something that we can talk about some more. I think it bears some more discussion. So we've come to the end of our time now. Unless Geshe, do you have any last minute comments that you would like to make?
I want to share with you again, we practiced 37 bodhicitta about Bodhisattva. Also, that is mean of the we practice control of our mind. Yeah, we need now we control of our mind. That is last comment.
Yeah, how to tame our mind, training our mind.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
Control our mind. So that's the mean practices.
Yeah. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you all very much. And next time I was perhaps we can have a little bit of a discussion about communication, because this is Brother Dorji's field. He's going to continue teaching at the Nova in Manassas. He teaches communication at a college level. And so I'd like to hear his comments next time we meet about what he thinks about what we're doing in this discussion group, and any suggestions that he might have to improve things, and where he thinks that we're doing good things and so